favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Discussion on ordinance 705-08-1224, amending and recreating chapter 98-27 of the Village Code of Ordinances, swimming pools. This came from Martin. I talked to him this afternoon. It's just kind of a redundancy as far as going back and checking on swimming pools. This is way beyond what other communities do, and he asked that we get this cleaned up so he can do his job, the building inspector. Is that?
That's in a nutshell. Instead of going out and doing 2 inspections, he really feels like other communities, he should do 1 inspection, right, at final.
But he does do prior also. He was
Yeah,
doing-
permit issuance.
Yeah. And the electrical.
In particular, it's has to do with above ground pools, right, because they're all prefab and come from manufacturer.
Does that include decking?
Decking is a separate permit. It could all be rolled onto one thing, but it's a separate permit.
I'll make a motion to approve amending ordinance 705-08-224.
I'll second it. Okay, motion second. Any more discussion, questions? I see none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Discussion on ordinance 708-08-1224, amending and recreating chapter 87 of Village's Code of Ordinances.
Mike Spawnholtz for this one, if you can come up.
Regulation of animals.
So this item went to our DPW committee. It's been here at the village board. We've seen commentary online. I would tell you that Trustee Jaskey, Trustee Houston, and I had a run-in with a very well-mannered individual who had lots of polite things to say to all of us one afternoon in the park as we were walking around doing an inspection. And he had his dogs and felt some type of way about not being able to have his dogs in the park. The challenge with dogs in the park is multifaceted. I'll give you my view on it and then hand it to Mike to kind of talk about what he deals with pretty regularly. We are not going to be successful in keeping dogs out of the park. We have signs up, people bring them. I have lived this in every community that I've worked in. The best that I think you're going to be able to do is either pretend the problem doesn't exist or enforce the actual problem, which is dogs off of leash or owners that leave dog waste material in parks. So those are really the big challenges. This ordinance tries to address those. I'm sure it'll be contentious all the way around. There's no way to make everybody happy, but Mike should tell you what he deals with daily.
Well, what I see is, I agree with what's in the packet. People are gonna bring their dogs in. It's a beautiful park to walk around. In my opinion, and just being the guy that has to clean up all this mess, I'd like to see added to that we don't allow them in the playgrounds, in the mulch, because we pick up waste in the mulch, it's disgusting. In the sandbox, inside the bathroom buildings, that kind of stuff. So, again, Muskego does a really great, their rules here, I passed this around last time. It's a really nice sign. They allow dogs on their trails on 6-foot leashes, and the owners must clean up their waste, and that they must be in control of all the time. I just think common sense, like it's written, common sense approach to this, where both sides can be pleased. I hear more complaints of dogs fighting in the parks than people wanting to bring dogs in the park, stuff like that. But Zeke's absolutely right. There's no stopping it. People want to walk their dogs in that nice park we built, so.
We put signs up everywhere and people just ignore them. They walk right past them, and then when you try to confront them about it, they are viciously ugly to us.
So I think common sense rules would, in my opinion, would be great. It would be nice to have some guidance on this.
If you chose to move this, I would ask you to make this a first reading. I did place additional penalties in there. We want to go back and have a conversation with our judge about what's in here, which effectively places a pretty stiff financial penalty on for first offense and second offense for defecation in the park and not removal of those waste.
Any questions? Yeah, any questions?
Yeah, I have one good question. Is it possible to get a name dispenser?
Yeah, it's what we would work on.
Well,
next.
once we talked about it, just, it's an ordinance, no dogs in the park now, so I didn't want to, till this gets changed, I don't want to put dispensers in,
that's
it's
in
kind of
the-
mixed signals,
Yeah.
so.
So, just to make it clear, you want to, first of all, I'd like to know if the board's okay with the fines. To me, I think if you're a good dog owner, that's great, but the bad dog owners are wrecking it for everybody else.
So is that
I
right?
think the fines need to be stiff, especially the second time. But that's my opinion. What do you guys think? These are just suggestions from DPW committee, right?
Yeah, but we've always said no dogs in the park, DPW committee, because of the problems, because there's plenty of places to walk your dog. We're having problems with dogs in the park right now. I'm a dog lover, I've got a dog my whole life, but, you know, there's plenty of places to walk the dogs. And my point is that this has gone through DPW 3 times, and the DPW board, well, listen to them, said 3 times, you know, we shouldn't have them in here because we have a problem with those signs up right now. And so opening it up to more people, that's not the smart way to do it. In my opinion, you can enforce the rules on the books now. You got a question? The DPW said no dogs in the park every time it's gone through.
My recollection is DPW said to draft some type of an ordinance last time we discussed this.
I must have been out at that meeting.
Yeah, I think you were not at that one.
Because
But
it's been there every time.
it came up after we had a dog
As
that,
Mike's saying this,
yeah.
I think it's gonna help the problem to let the dogs in the park and people don't pay attention when there's rules there. I mean, that's kind of where I'm sitting, but, you know, it's not an anti-dog thing, it's there are a certain amount of people that don't like dogs. There's food out there, there's kids that are scared of them. We have Rochester's got a beautiful dog park. We got other areas can walk dogs. I mean, one area we can't walk dogs, I don't think is bad. I think it's gonna make Mike's job easier if we enforce it. I mean, the guy sitting out there cussing at you, the police should have been called, they should have gotten a fine. And if he's belligerent, he should have gotten arrested, in my opinion. This is an enforcement issue.
I don't think it's a real popular thing for the police to
Nah.
enforce. They don't wanna do it.
They don't wanna do it, just up front. They don't wanna go because the people are just as ugly to them, and then it's very much likely to turn into some kind of a other charge on the other side of that.
But it's not gonna solve the problem. If we look at this, if we get this together right now and we come back and it's worse, you know, I'd temporarily be happy to, you know, try this to see if it's better, Mike. But I mean, if, you know, people are letting their dogs defecate in a kid's sandbox or in the bathroom, you know,
Yeah, it's
all
all
that's
different.
gonna help to have more dogs there. That's, you know, it's,
So we think that adding bags, as Andy just indicated, around the park, I've by way of career, I've lived this one time before. We ended up spending $4,000 a year on poop bags for 2 million annual visitors coming through Sister Bay. I don't think we have anywhere near that volume here. But we tried in Sister Bay to ban dogs from the parks, and we found out really quick that they would just bring their dogs anyway. And we wanted to not have the bags up because we just didn't want the dogs in the park for the same reason you just brought up. And they just kept coming. Moreover, the state of Wisconsin a couple of years back had an entire year travel ad campaign sent over to Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois, where the whole theme of the campaign was bring your dog to Wisconsin, we're pet friendly.
all you're doing is reinforcing bad behavior. If you want to walk your dog without something to pick up, you know, when it defecates, you're a bad dog owner to begin with. So all we're doing is putting that up there and saying, hey, here you go. You know, you're a bad dog owner or irresponsible one to the community. Here's some bags to use. I don't see how that's gonna help. If really, if someone doesn't bother bringing it on a walk, they're gonna say, here's a bag, I'm now gonna do this.
You gotta speak up on this one.
I
It's
kinda
not
agree
gonna
with
help. It's not
Badger.
gonna help.
I always bring a bag.
I
Everybody
do too.
always
You
brings a
walk your
bag.
dog, yeah, always
I
do
think
that,
it's
yeah.
irresponsible for
Yeah.
people that
Seems
don't.
like right
But
stuff.
there's statistics I've seen that if you put the bags out, it lessens it. And really, that's not the issue. The issue is, to me, I mean, from being in the parks all the time, is the playgrounds, the play stream, the food and fun, where all the picnic tables are tight together. It's those areas. It's not walking around the trail with your 6-foot leash. People are doing that 40 times a day. Ask Bob, he probably sees them. And it's a beautiful way. I know I've kind of changed my tune on this a little bit. I just believe we should let them walk along the river walk with a leash, and maybe have some bags for them available, I guess. From my perspective, I just think in the mulch, when kids are swinging in the play stream, running around, it's just a good way to get a dog to react when it's around real close quarters to kids or people eating at picnic tables. You know, because when there's 2 dogs on 2 picnic tables, you see them fight all the time at events, that kind of stuff. I think that's the only real issue, more than the poop. That is, to me, that's what I've seen so far.
Okay, trustee McGrath,
personally, I don't believe whatever the ordinance is will solve any issue that we have, with dogs in the park. We've got these beautiful parks, the park now, the new park is beautiful, the walking path and whatnot. I truly believe that it should be an area that we do allow dogs on leashes. The bag idea in the signs, what community was that, the sign, was that Muskego?
Mosquito, here, you can pass this around, it's basically, I took a picture of a lot of different communities, that was the one that stuck out to me the most. I only have one copy of it.
It would be nice to put up signs, but, you know, just like anything else, people are not gonna read them, but they can be up in the park. And again, it's my personal belief that we should, change this ordinance, because if we have an ordinance, no dogs, there's still gonna be dogs there. Let's be friendly to our residents that do have dogs, and I believe that as more dogs are in the park, the good dog owners will start calling out the bad dog owners. And hopefully that will help change this trend. But again, I believe that, we've got that beautiful piece of property, walking path around the river. If dogs are leashed, I believe that we should, change the ordinance.
So let's imagine a situation where two dog owners have dogs that clash. Dogs get in a fight. How do we enforce that separation? What if they're pit bulls and they don't release? What happens when a dog bites a child holding food in the play stream? I think we're right back here at this dais, opening this ordinance again. Because, is there, if I might ask, are there any legal implications for the village if someone gets bit by a dog that's either on or off leash?
No.
I believe that we'll hear from the citizens of this community, and they're gonna come back angry about dog bites, because it's gonna happen. So, I'm in favor of enforcement of the current zoning code that's, I'm sorry, the current regulation that's there. But I'm mixed because it's a very hard thing to enforce if our law enforcement doesn't wanna enforce it. And that's the end of it. So if we can't get to the end of it, do we just throw our hands in the air and say, everybody bring your dogs and let them fight, let them bite, let them poop, and let the kids on the play stream with their bare feet step in it or step in the mulch that has it? You can't get dog poop out of mulch. That's almost impossible.
That's sort of what's happening right now.
So how do we cordon off an area that we say, this is the area within the park that no dogs are allowed?
That sign that I passed around just says dogs are only allowed on the trails.
Yeah.
So if you put up a sign and you don't enforce the rules that are written on the sign,
That's true, yeah.
it's a sense of the sign.
Yeah.
Might as well just have
At least we have a
dog
tool,
control.
as a DPW, we can go out there during the day and say, get your dog away from the swings or whatever, you know.
And you guys are willing to do that? You're
I
willing
do
to
it
go
all
out
the
there and
time.
police the dogs out of the areas where they shouldn't be?
If there's an annoying dog, people come up to me on Monday night food trucks. Carol from the farmer's market comes up to me and she points it out, and then I'll go.
Cause there was an
politely ask her.
off-leash dog over there about 10 after 5.
There's off-leash dogs every day. There's a guy every day that go on and on about it.
I'm concerned that we're
I think that should be the
talking
number one
about
thing
this
that's
again in
enforced.
short order.
I agree, this is not easy to answer.
It's not an easy thing to answer. I'm a dog lover, I have a dog. I think there's 16 dogs just in a 2-block area around my house. Everybody wants to walk their dogs and everybody wants to take that trail. I've done it. I carry a bag and I pick up my dog poop. But it's not just poop, it's interactions with humans, it's interactions with other dogs. And I feel like something's gonna come up soon, and it might not even be the community that does it or us that does it, it might be you that comes back and says, well, that didn't go so well.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
The leash law at minimum should be enforced. We should not have loose dogs around.
how do we enforce a leash law?
That we should, well, we should maybe ask the police
You need
department.
a local police department.
Does it have to be a police officer?
What do we need?
You need a local police department with local officers who are embedded in this community.
Absolutely, 100% without question.
Jeske?
I think this is, boils down to
just to what type of person and dog owner you are. I truly feel the same if we keep it the way it is. I don't wanna start another, war of words, but I don't think the town of Waterford Police Department contract with is a top priority right now, is picking up people for dropping dog droppings without any regard.
I agree.
There's a lot of other issues that they need to resolve before we start asking them to focus on the park poop problem. Again, like, a good dog owner, like you said, is gonna pick up after their dog. If we have bags and receptacles there, that may encourage somebody who chooses not to, it might not. The gentleman that Zeke was talking about that let his dog, drop, waste in the mulch area, that individual, he's gonna let that happen anywhere. So, I'm kind of with Troy on this, that there are a lot of people who live in this community that don't go to a park because they don't have kids or grandkids, they have a dog, and they wanna walk a dog in a beautiful park that, has now been created in this community. So, again, like any other thing, it's what type of person you are, and you gotta take care of what you should take care of, or just let it be for somebody else. So, we might be back here if you're concerned about all these dog bites. I walk in other places in this community and there's dogs attacking each other in those spots. So, I think we should not discriminate against our furry friends.
Where my business is located, right adjacent to the bike path, there are probably 40 or 50 dogs that walk by per day. I have not seen one issue with dogs going at each other or whatnot. I take that back, I did see one a couple years ago, but, haven't seen it. And there's not really any problems with dog, crap along the bike path. Cause I mow the bike path, the county doesn't do it, so I do it all the time, and I don't see any.
Any other comments, or what do we wanna do here? I'll just be honest, there's no easy answer here. I have no problem with dogs, but there are people that do, there's kids, dogs are always gonna be in somebody's face for eating food, I don't care how good a dog is. There's no easy answer here.
Al from River Rhythms too is, I didn't realize this, he's really passionate about having no dogs at his event. He says it over the microphone and stuff. He's had problems with people bringing dogs. When you get that many people tight together.
Yeah, I mean,
Just-
you want,
just
hold your cup and your dog's over there licking out of it, Any thoughts here?
The question is, do you wanna bring this back for a second reading?
We wanna bring it back for a second reading, are we okay with the fines?
I'd like to see the fines, second reading.
The fines are in the packet.
Right now,
Well, he
there-
said you were modified, he's gonna take it to the judge.
I would have a conversation with, before we go read, just like with the bags, right, I'd like to have a conversation with Greg. Greg, what do you think about this?
Alright, so do we need a motion for another second reading, or just move on?
Just
table it. Table.
Do a second reading.
Okay. Can you get a motion to table this?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second to table to the next meeting, or?
We're gonna table to the next
We're gonna
meeting.
table, I'd like to put a time. Table next meeting?
Sure.
Your second. Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion gets tabled. Should've put that on our survey. We had 50-50.
Probably.
Discussion on ordinance 707-081224, amending and recreating chapter 1 170 of the village's code, ordinances, sale of liquor in parks. This is basically cleanup. Rachel might be able to help us, or Zeke.
Yeah, so some years ago, we amended, our ordinances to allow, consumption of alcohol in the parks. There's been a recent change in state legislation that now allows sale of spirituous liquor in the parks. And doing just a periodic review of our ordinances went on. This is, one that's in conflict with other policies. We're looking for you to strike one line out of the ordinance so that spirituous liquor is, available for sale in the park. This affects distilleries under present state statute.
Anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that one.
Motion a second. Any more questions? Discussion? I hear none. I'll call a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving on, number 6, discussion on resolution 1019-08-1224, amending the 2024 budget. We got numerous amendments here we need to clean up.
So this just went to our finance committee, did receive approval for a recommendation on to the village board here. I'm gonna break these out into 3 basic lumps or categories, and then some subdivisions within that. So this is going to take, positions that previously were in our DPW budget, which impacts DPW, the streets and highways, parks, recycling, water, and sewer funds. There's 5 different funds involved. When we're discussing, DPW on the labor side, water and sewer are involved when we look at capital, and then we'll talk about fire and EMS. So I'll take them all kind of in order of, simplicity, and categorization. So we're asking for an increase in water fund 600 as well as sewer fund 610. Each of those presently have SCADA, budgets of $8,000 each. We're asking you to increase, each of those by $27,000. That gives us some buffer. I'm looking for Rick Heenan back there, in case something else happens. We need HydroCorp to complete the AMI project that we started back in 2020. Rick, can you talk a little bit about AMI and why that's important to your department? So,
So as Zeke said, this has been going on since 2020. With COVID and the lack of chips, the project kept getting delayed. We're in full swing right now with the meter change out program. I'm just trying to look up, I believe we're down to roughly 300 meters left to change and a couple hundred radios, and it should be 100% completed with that. Which will give us roughly 40 days, 49 days.
45, something like that.
I'm sorry? I believe it's around 300 meters to be changed, and then there's roughly a couple hundred meters that are capable of receiving a radio, but the radio needs to get installed, and that's what this 38,000 is to complete that. We just don't have the staffing to do it.
So just for, by way of explanation, talk about what this is. When I took my position over and did a top to bottom analysis of the organization, what I found is that you had 1992-ish Clinton administration, really old meter reading equipment. You have 4 of them. We cannot get replacements for them. There is no substitute. If the system was not updated, and when those units fail, you will not be able to read your meters. So in 2020, with the American Investment Recovery Act, when that came out, the federal government did an allocation to municipalities. We received about 500, so I think it was a little shy of 550,000. Through subsequent action by the Finance Committee and Village Board, we put that money into this AMI project. What that allows, right now, the way we read meters, we drive around, we walk around, we have to touch the reader to some proximate device that allows it to pick up. We have finished installing the antenna on the water tower. We will be able to push a button or automatic, have all that data now collapse back into our read system without having to send anybody in the field to do a read. When somebody is moving where we have a change of service. We can now handle that remotely once this project goes live. Moreover, kind of one of the cool features of it is, Michelle's not here tonight. I don't recall exactly how much Michelle's bill was for water. I think it was like $1,400 or something like that. So it's not super common, but several times a year we get a customer who's got a toilet that's hung or a water hose. That was the case with Michelle. Water hose left on the backyard while she was on vacation. She got a $1,400 water bill. Under state statute, we got to look at it and go, "We're really sorry about that. You need to write that check," because the state doesn't allow us to forgive it. So with this system, now when we get that read where it's just an abnormal constant read, we'll be able to send somebody out to the house or make a phone call and go, "Hey, we need to come check your stuff out. You've got a really high read and we'd hate for you to have a high water bill." So in particular for some of the seniors in our community on fixed income, that'll be a really great thing to help them out with that.
So what Zeke was just talking about, we don't have the full upgraded software yet, just a portion of it, enough for me to see how the project is proceeding. I think this morning when I looked, there's 42 alerts. It doesn't tell me where these meters are, but it's telling me that there's been constant flow for 24 hours on 42 meters out of 2,000 that are installed. Once we get the full software upgrade, we'll be able to contact customers and give them that warning, hey, you need to check your toilets or whatever it is.
I tell you, I had an issue holding a 3/4 copper pipe last week. Who knows how much water came out of there, and I have no idea. I'm not sure how many days, because we were out of town. And I hate to see what the water bill's gonna be, but
Okay.
yeah, I would love to be notified, trust me.
So that's the, go ahead.
So you 40 to 50 days with man hours you're gonna save?
We're gonna say,
And what is that?
Streets.
So, but what is that in dollar amounts?
I'd have to
You do
punch
the-
it out. Yeah, tens of thousands of dollars. So the plan right now, and you guys have authorized that previously, was we bought a hot box for asphalt, as well as a milling machine for asphalt. So the guys are out now doing that. We'll be able to possibly expand some of that work that we're doing to take better care of the streets, because as we indicated on the survey earlier, lower the taxes and fix the roads. So that's where we're concentrating our energy for.
Oh, you're looking for 37,000?
This is not a cash savings, so this is a reallocation of time. We still have to have these
Oh, I get
meetings.
that, I'm just looking at it from.
Yeah, oh, yeah, also, yeah, this will pay for the first year,
That's
or
what
close
I'm
to
gonna
it,
get.
yeah.
These are not increases in budget, these are
Reallocation.
reallocations.
Um,
And they're also, this is comes out of the water
Water and
fund.
sewer.
It doesn't, it's not direct tax dollars, it's paid through the water bill, water and sewer.
Okay, so other items in here, in the 2024 budget, we had a full-time utilities clerk budgeted. We did not fill that position. We made a decision that we would continue along with the AMI project to see where that took us. We've now had Ms. Pankowski leave us. She was our part-time utility clerk. So we're looking at doing several things budgetarily as outlined in the resolution and attachment in your packet. All of those utilities positions and parks recycling and streets and highways positions, DPW positions overall, would consolidate, so you had one full-time utility clerk / a whole lot of other things, ground maintenance and whatnot. And then you have an expansion of Greg Winsky's role. He's been a part-time employee for us for a number of years. We still want to keep him in a part-time role, but we want to expand his hours to 15, 20 a year. I can't express enough how hardworking, intelligent, humble, excellent Greg Winsky is, and the value that he creates for this community, the work that he does. So that's the wrap up for the DPW side of the conversation. Thank you, Rick. I'm gonna pull the others up here on the screen so the folks in the audience can see it.